Hi, I'm Wells Hanley, and welcome to I Wrote This Song For You, a podcast where I share songs I wrote for people I know, or for people I don't know. The truth is, I'll write a song for anyone who evokes a feeling in me that I have no way of responding to other than to write a song for them. So let's meet today's guest and hear their song. I'll be talking today with Elizabeth Johnson Rice, who's a social activist as well as a survivor of a near-death experience. In 1960, Elizabeth and a group of Virginia Union University students sat down at the whites-only lunch counter at Thalheimer's department store in downtown Richmond. When they refused to leave, they were all arrested and jailed and charged with trespassing. We know them now as the Richmond 34, but for many years their story was largely unknown. That all began to change in the year 2000, when Elizabeth flatlined for several minutes. When she woke up, she carried with her a kind of directive to get the word out about what had happened in 1960, and that's what she's been doing ever since. She's an exuberant person and full of energy, which is reflected in the fact that she's still going strong at the age of 80, and I believe it's reflected in the song that I wrote for her. I'll be sharing snippets of 2 different interviews I did with Elizabeth, and at the end of the episode, I'll share the song that her story inspired me to write.
Oh, now I have got another shot. I've entered a bonus round, and I would never have thought there could...
Today's song, Second Chance, will be sung by René Marie. This show runs entirely on contributions from listeners like you, so stay tuned to the end of the episode to learn how you can join in and help. We're going to drop in now on the part of the interview where Elizabeth is just beginning to tell me about the events that led up to her near-death experience.
I was having some discomfort, and I said, no, I better go see the doctor. And so my husband took me to the emergency room. One of the head doctors there came back and said, Ms. Rice, now I want you to be calm. I said, okay. But we're looking at your CAT scan, and something very serious is occurring. And so you right now are having an aortic aneurysm. And we see the aorta tearing away from the heart on this film. And so I said, okay, well, I'll try to be as calm as I can. And the whole time I was praying, I said, look, God, whatever is going on, thank you for not giving me any pain right now. Thank you for allowing me to be as calm as I'm being. And whatever your will is, if you want to do this, if you want to heal me naturally, then heal me naturally. If you want me to have surgery, fine. If you think it's my time now, then that's the way it is.
It sounds like you're pretty relaxed about it, or at least you're resigned to the possibility that you weren't going to walk out of there.
I've had a lot of spiritual experiences, astral projection, soul travel, and these are kind of things a lot of people don't know about, but I had the experience. So I wasn't afraid of what was going on because of that path. And my grandmother was into, she chanted Om. And in the midst of my grandfather being one of the first Black Episcopal priests in the United States, and then married a Baptist preacher. So I had a combination of all these things.
Wow.
And so here I am. All these doctors are coming around me. They told me, the cavity, blood is going into your cavity, and you have to, people die instantly from this. Mm-hmm. And so all these doctors were huddled around my room outside, discussing, going back and forth. One was saying, well, she's not going to make it. The tear is so severe that she won't make it if we take her to surgery. Mm-hmm. They said, well, what are we going to do? And so they came back and said, Ms. Rice, your tear is so severe that we're not going to operate, but we are going to take care of you and monitor you and try to get you through this. Mm-hmm. And so I said, okay. So they started hooking me up to all this stuff. I had tubes and everything coming out of me. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't move, and I was there in intensive care for 40-some days. One particular night after nurses had changed their shift, I said, it's time for me to have my medicine. Nobody's coming to give me my medicine. And I kept ringing the bell for somebody to come. And nobody came. And I, having had the experience of being out of my body before, I knew that I was getting ready to disappear here, or from planet Earth. I was getting ready to go. Mm-hmm. And so I got on the phone, and I called Richard and said, Richard, I said, they haven't given me my medicine. Nobody's responding to the calls. And I suggest if you want to see me alive, and this is the way I was talking, if you want to see me alive, I suggest that you get here as soon as you can. Mm-hmm. So when he finally got there, he came in there just so upset. He said, look, my wife is about to go in cold blue. What are you all doing for her? You didn't give her a medication. He's so upset. That's the guy up there on the picture. And about that time, he came over to me and I said, Richard, come here. And I said, I'm about to go. But before I go, I want you to know I love you. And just at that time, Richard tells me that I just went out, I flatlined. And he said, she's flatlined. You all need to bring the crash cart. Where's the crash cart? They could not find the crash cart on the floor.
Oh, my.
Doctors and nurses, he said, were running all around the place. And minutes went by, and he just started sobbing. And they took him out of the room and took him into another room adjacent to me and said, Reverend Rice, just be here for a minute. We'll be back with you. And he was sobbing. He said, why did you let her go? Why didn't you take me instead? Mm. And he said he was in that room just sobbing, and all of a sudden he sees this very statuesque, strong doctor from out of nowhere that comes into the room. And he said, sir, what's the problem? And he said, they let my wife die. He said, well, where is she? He said, she's in that room there. So well, how long has it been? And he said something like 8 minutes. He said, well, let me go in there and see if I can bring her back the old-fashioned way. And he had an accent. Wow. He said, I was from Jamaica, one of the islands. And so he goes into my room, and he comes close to me, and this is what Richard's telling me. He takes his fist, and he just pounds my chest, and pounds my chest. And then he said my hands started to move. And he said, Reverend, come in here right away. I think I brought her back. Now, I'm not a witness to all of this because I'm in another plane.
Right.
And so he comes in, and he's just totally amazed. And all the doctors by that time, and they found the crash cart by that time. And everybody starts coming in and apparently puts a ventilator or whatever on me and gets me back to intensive care.
So what were you experiencing while all that was going on?
During that interim between flatlining and coming back, I had some experiences on the inner. I don't know where I was, but I found myself in a area like the Grand Canyon. And I saw, it was like a place where people go to drink, a lot of bottles on the ground and also syringes on the ground. But there was a big pine tree, one pine tree in that area. And I looked up in the top of the pine tree, and there was this eagle looking down at me. And I said, wow. And before I knew it, I became the eagle. And I was floating all around the Grand Canyon, just floating and experiencing the freedom. And then when I asked the question, what is this all about? The minute I asked that question, I was immediately taken from that place. And I found myself, the next vision was, I was in a movie theater. And it was a huge screen. And all I could see was the light from the camera coming through on the screen. And I looked back and I didn't see anybody running the projector. And I'm the only one in this huge theater. And nothing but light is on the screen. And so I asked, what does this mean? And I did get an answer on that one. And that was that your story hasn't fully been told. You still have a lot to do. And that's why you're not seeing the story right now, because it hasn't been written. A lot of things are going to be happening. And then the next thing I remember is being in a hospital corridor and seeing something like the Japanese lantern just going in one direction and light going in another. Just kept coming and going. And I looked down and I didn't have any feet, didn't have any arms. I was the light. I was the light. And I was floating like the lanterns. And I kept floating until I heard my name called. And they said, Elizabeth, Elizabeth. And I floated to where the sound was coming from. And I got into that room, and I saw the silhouettes of my family. And I floated above to see what are they looking at. And I saw my body. I'm in the light body now, and I saw my body in the bed there. And from above, I floated in and immersed with the body on the bed. Then I heard, Elizabeth, Elizabeth, we want you to know you didn't die. Even the nurse said to me, you didn't die. You're alive. You're here. Your family's around you. You're back. And so I knew then that, okay, now I'm back on planet Earth. Everybody said, well, did you see Jesus? I said, no, but I experienced enough of the light and everything else to know that I have no fear of death.
So how long in total were you out?
They said from 6 to 8 minutes I was out.
Wow.
And usually that's, if you got that long, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Look who's got a second chance. I'm back on the ground from the great expanse. I took a dive, but I've got a second chance.
You're here for a purpose. You've already experienced some of your purpose, 1960, we got arrested and we went to jail and no one has acknowledged it. And so God was saying to me, then you have to be the one. You have to let them realize what happened and bring it back to the forefront and do it now.
So you've done a lot. We know that now. You did get the story out, and you've been featured in documentaries. You've had books written about you, and I could go on and on about the things you've done. What was your first move? Like after you got well and you decided, okay, I'm going to bring this story forward. How did you get that process going?
I got on the phone, called the police, said, I'm Elizabeth Johnson Rice. I got arrested in 1960, and I would like to do a commemoration march about what happened that day. What do I have to do? And they said, well, that's a good idea, and I think what you're doing is great, and I'm going to put you in touch with the Park Police. I called my sister. I said, Phyllis, I need your old karaoke machine, microphone, and I need your card tables. This is going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it did happen. You got the permit to do the march. And one of the important things that came out of that day was the beginning of your, you could say, unlikely friendship with a woman who you call Little E. And that's Elizabeth Thalheimer Smart, the granddaughter of William Thalheimer, who was running the store on the day of the sit-in. And I love this part of the story because you did something that I don't think most people would have done. And that's what set the stage for your friendship with her.
I was giving out awards to all these activists in the community. And Spirit had told me that the night before I did all this, you need to make an award for William Thalheimer Sr. Mm-hmm. Because even though he was the owner of the store, he deserves it because things started because of that arrest. And Richmond is a better city because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did an award for him. After it was all over, this cute little white couple came up to me with their dog. And it was Lil E, and she told me that she enjoyed what I said. And then she told me, though people have not supported you like they should have, when you have your 50th anniversary, we're going to make that special.
Mm-hmm.
And she was true to her word.
So Little E and Big E, as they affectionately call each other, teamed up to get the word out. In my second interview with Elizabeth, she told me about some of the developments since that first march, starting with the 50th anniversary celebration.
It was major. We worked in the backgrounds from 2004 to 2010. We had schools bussed in from all over the counties. We had the merchants of Richmond came together. And for the final thing was that night at Center Stage, we had John Legend to sing to us. Talking about going big time. And they brought all of the Richmond 34 that were still alive back, put them up in the Marriott Hotel, all expenses paid, gave them gifts. And so that was a big honor.
That celebration was a big deal, and it put the Richmond 34 on the map in a different way. And since then, all kinds of things have been happening. Most recently with the Richmond Squirrels, the baseball team. Can you talk about how that got started?
I was sitting there in their conference room talking about the Richmond 34. And they had tears in their eyes. And they had never heard the story. And they said, we're tired of the racism, and we really want to make a bold statement. And you were carrying this banner all this time, and you have not been acknowledged. And what we want to do is do a mural in honor of the legacy of the Richmond 34. And we want you to be our spokesperson. And so not only are we going to do that, we're going to retire the number 34. And every time you come into the concourse at the Diamond, every step, the first 34 steps, will have the name of each person of the Richmond 34.
You've dedicated so much of your life and so much of your time to fighting racism, to trying to bring about a new way of thinking, to trying to encourage people to turn the corner, to try to move the culture forward. How are you feeling about how that's going?
What is racism? It's the fact that you have not acknowledged the presence of greatness, of humility, of compassion, of another like you. But instead of acknowledging, you have demeaned. And because of that non-acknowledgement, problems have arisen. And now there is an awakening of something that is greater than any of us. The time has come. The time has come, and even those that want to maintain the divisiveness, there will be some that will never change. And you have to realize that too. There will be some that will never change. But the majority of us realize there is goodness in all of us. And if we just allow it to come out and be a part of us, that the blessings are just bound to endless blessings. This world, is like in the Lord's Prayer, on earth as it is in heaven. And you can have that, heaven on earth. We can have it. It's up to us. We are the ones that make it.
So what's next for you to do? I mean, you've accomplished so much already. Why not just kick back and enjoy being retired?
It's just the older I get, the more I realize that Spirit is leading the way. I'm not 80 just because of all the great things I've done, but because I've got some things to do. They need somebody that is, my age, still has the spark to do some different things. So God is not through with me yet.
Well, I think there's the perfect transition into the song that I wrote for you, because as much as it was inspired by that moment that you woke up from the near-death experience, as I was writing it, I came to realize that it really is just as much a testament to your character and to your enthusiasm and to your energy, which I experience as being kind of boundless. So the song's a celebration of life. It's a celebration of you and all the things that you've done. What do you say? Should we give it a listen?
I can't wait.
Okay. This is called Second Chance, and I wrote this song for you.
Look who's got a second chance. I'm back on the ground from the great expanse. I took a dive, but I got a second chance. Oh, I just landed my lucky break. Got the band back together for another take. I was chow, but now I'm wide awake. I let my life go completely, receding to a faraway shore. Now I've returned so sweetly, back in the flesh and ready for more. I can feel my feet, I can sing and dance. I've returned to wearing my shirt and pants. I've got a second chance, and I'm carrying a jewel, and I don't wanna drop it. I would be such a fool if I should ever stop making the most of this second chance. By fate, but having dozed and slumbered, I'm back in the race and I'm feeling great. There's a tear somewhere in the grand design that I should have crossed that finish line and kept on running. Lord, how I feel so fine. Oh, now I have got another shot. I've entered a bonus round, and I would never have thought there could exist this delicious twist in the plot. The curtain was closed and the show was done, but the producer introduced an extended run. We made a pact and now another act has begun. The show keeps going and going. I know it's gonna grow and thrive. I'm overflowing, just owing to being alive. I am gonna survive. Oh, I'm living up my second chance. I'm gonna work this perk in my circumstance. I was revived and I survived. My day has arrived. I'm gonna thrive and I'm still alive, 'cause I've got a second chance. And I know my second chance.
Oh my God, this is amazing. Absolutely surreal. Oh my goodness. This is like an out-of-body experience. Do you know you picked up the jazz singer in me?
No.
I always wanted to be a singer, a jazz singer.
Oh, wow.
My mother wouldn't let me do it. Oh. So, I mean, that's me.
No kidding.
That really was me.
Wow.
How'd you know it was a jazz number?
I don't know. I think it was the only way that I knew how to cram that much energy into a 3-minute song.
Oh my gosh. We can get a hit on this one. I don't want to lose my second chance. Oh my goodness. I don't want the day to end.
I believe that music in any shape or form can be healing, and I'm committed to continuing my work of randomly surprising people with songs. But I need your help to keep it going. You can lend your support for as little as $5 a month. In return, you'll receive exclusive behind-the-scenes content and other special rewards. Simply follow the link in the show notes or visit my website at iwrotethissongforyou.com and click the link Be a Patron. You'll be directed to my page on Patreon. Patreon is a secure site where someone like you who believes in a project like mine can sign up with a credit card to make a monthly contribution. Those dollars go directly to paying singers and musicians, as well as studio fees and other technical costs. Today's song, Second Chance, was written and performed by me, Wells Hanley, and was sung by René Marie. We were joined by Randall Pharr on bass and Billy Williams on drums. To share your story to be considered for a future episode, you can submit the form on the contact page of my website, iwrotethissongforyou.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.